We don't want to alarm people. We could be telling about some of the stuff that's going on around the country or around the world, for that matter. And some people, and Minister Alim would probably help us out with this, because I mentioned earlier, some people say you'll be here. Those problems that they have in Italy and in Europe will be here in about 2 weeks or more, if they don't find a cure. Well, he says they have a cure if they don't use the cure from Cuba. Anyway, Dr. Alim, I'll let you finish your thought, and then I got a tweet question from Darnell for you.
Yeah, I would like to, before we go further, let me put out some information, because people need to contact me. We're not going to cover everything we need to cover in a allotted time. So you can reach me at my website, myabundantlife.me. And there you will find my protocols, my recommended protocols for treating coronavirus and other viral illnesses or anything that you might be concerned with. So it's myabundantlife.me. Look for the protocols, look for the symptom survey, and you also see something there called Add Life Super Green Powder. Now, that's very important for you to have for two reasons. The Add Life Super Green Powder is going to give you spirulina and chlorella and other super nutrition, and that's going to strengthen your ability to be immune to this virus or any virus. And then the second reason is that the green powder will protect you from radiation. So remember, radiation is a part of this viral picture. If you're not protected from radiation, you're only half protected. So you need the living green powder, the Add Life powder. You can also buy that at addlife.me or myabundantlife.me. So now those recommendations will be on that website, and then so we can continue our talk here. But I just wanted to make sure you could get that contact in the future.
Right. Let me throw this question here from Donald. Donald says, please ask your guest, can you buy alpha interferon?
You can buy it in Cuba. That's why I'm putting it out to Mr. Trump. That they have it down in Cuba, but there's a trade embargo. They won't let you go there and get it. So that's why I'm challenging Mr. Trump, lift the sanctions so Americans can go to Cuba and get alpha interferon. Why shouldn't they have access to alpha interferon? Why should people die for lack of treatment? Even the talk about vaccine is nonsense. You want to wait 18 months? How many people will be infected in 18 months? You see, so the immediate answer is in Cuba. 90 miles off the coast of Florida, they have alpha interferon that will save lives. That's why you don't hear about any cases in Cuba. When's the last time you heard about an AIDS case in Cuba? They don't have that down there. 90 miles off the coast of Florida. We just have to wake up. We cannot afford this kind of crazy politics that's been going on. The whole world is under a threat. Remember when President Reagan said that what would unite the world would be, they say, a threat from outer space? That everybody would realize we're all on one planet, that we're all one people, that all this division and fighting and conflict is nonsense, is non-survival? Well, look, we now have a global threat. We have a planetary threat. So what are we going to do? Are we going to put aside our differences and work together to survive as best we can? Or are we going to take the best practices, even if it's from Cuba, even if it's from China, and you claim you're anti-communist or you don't want it because there's some commies down there in Cuba that got it, or some black African in Kenya that came up with the solution? So you're a white racist, you don't want it because some niggas in Africa came up with it? You see, we've got to get past all this stuff if we expect to survive. Now, if we want to hold on to all this racist nonsense, all this nationalistic nonsense, then we're going to pay with our lives. So that's the challenge before us. Will we live up to our faith, whether we're Muslims, whether we're Catholics, Christians, Jews, Hindus? What are we going to do? Are we going to fight one another till we all are dead? Or are we going to use the best of what we have, use our brains, use our spirituality, use everything we have, and then we can survive together? But we can't survive apart. The virus does not respect borders. Haven't you noticed? Trump and his wall. You can stop a Mexican, but you can't stop Corona.
Right. There's more people with the disease here than in Mexico. But having said that, because you said it doesn't recognize borders, some people think that it hasn't hit Africa like they thought it would. It's been sub-Sahara and in northern Africa for the most part, in South Africa at least, but not Yeah, and I think they had one incident in Nigeria, but it hasn't, hit Africa. And some people think that our melanin has something to do with it. Is there any truth to that?
No, there's no truth to that at all. That's nonsense. Look, what we're dealing with ever since AIDS, SARS, MERS, all of these bioengineered viruses, this is high-tech stuff. Africa does not have the medical infrastructure to even test to see who has HIV. So that's why Dr. Parker, some other people, we developed a portable HIV test for Africa, because Africa does not have the infrastructure to even make a diagnosis. So we don't know how many people in Africa are HIV infected. We don't know how many people in Africa have the coronavirus. If they don't have test kits in America, do you think they have them in Africa? In some places, yes. You have sophisticated medicine in Nigeria. You have sophisticated medicine in Nairobi, in spotty places all across the continent. But by and large, those people don't have any medical infrastructure to take care of them. So you could have millions of people infected and not know it. Probably you do have millions infected. And the idea that somehow melanin is going to protect you, that is just nonsense. That's just nonsense.
Well, I'm glad you cleared that up for us. 800-450-7876. John is calling us. He's on line 1. He's calling from Fort Worth, Texas. John, you're on with Minister Ali.
Thank you for taking my call, and assalamu alaikum to Brother Dr. Mohammed. I have a question, a couple of them. Thank you, sir. There's geoengineering going on with the spraying of the airplanes militarily and through the skies all around the world, and I'm wondering if that could also have some type of an effect on the virus, or maybe those particles are part of the virus. And also, there was a cruise ship that docked in Florida Sunday night. I was reading on an online magazine. It was either Veterans Today or Zero Hedge, and some people had gotten sick, and they quarantined them, and they let all the other passengers off, and they didn't say whether or not that they had tested these people or anything. Could I get your comment?
They haven't tested them. They don't have the test kit.
Wow.
So, look, you mentioned two very important things. You mentioned airplanes and cruise ships. So now both of them are highly vulnerable, dangerous environments. You couldn't pay me to get on a cruise ship. You couldn't pay me to get on an airplane. Why? Well, when you fly at 30,000 feet in an airplane, you are subjected to all kinds of radiation, cosmic radiation coming from outer space, not to mention the Wi-Fi and all the navigation radiation that is necessary to fly a plane and for your computer to work. So that radiation activates viruses. Well, on a passenger jet, you've got a couple hundred people. Probably chances are 2 or 3 people are infected. What they do now to save on fuel, they recycle air on airplanes. They claim they filter it, but basically you're breathing the same air over and over and over again during the duration of the flight. So everybody's breathing the same air over and over again, and if you catch a virus, hey, that's it. Now the same thing on a cruise ship, where you're in the middle of the ocean, but you're connected by satellite. So your phone works, your internet works, your navigation equipment works, your radar works, but all that radiation is actually activating anybody on that ship that might have the virus. You see? So maybe at the beginning of the cruise, only one person has it. At the end of the cruise, everybody has it. And so they just left, hundreds of people off the ship, you said, in Florida. The other ship was in Oakland. Now those people are spreading out through the country. They're not screening them. How are you going to get somebody to screen people coming in on flights and off ship when most of the people who have done the screening so far, they've all gotten sick just from screening?
Well, this is very diabolical. It's very diabolical to think that human beings, if there are human beings, that could actually, spread this thing, create it in a laboratory and spread it accidentally or whatever, and then unleash it on the world for their own self-grandizement. It's just insanity. That's my opinion, and thank you very much.
Yes. Well, just so you said that, remember what Crown Prince Philip, this is the royal consort of Her Majesty the Queen of England, his famous quote was that in the event that he was reincarnated, he would like to return as a deadly virus to help solve the population problem. This is Prince Philip, the royal consort of the Queen of England. This is his quote. So it's not surprising that the company that owns the patent for this coronavirus is situated in England. It's a company called Purebright, and their whole specialty is in coronaviruses, and they have the patent on this virus that was released in China. Okay? So go look at the Georgia Guidestones right there in Georgia. Don't they tell you that the optimum population for planet Earth is 1 billion people? And that the optimum population for America is 125 million? What, do you think these people are playing when they tell you they want to reduce the population down to 125 million? That means they have to kill 200 million? Don't you think they've already thought this out? Don't you see?
Yes, I do.
Paid for that event in Baltimore in October where they predicted 65 million deaths from coronavirus.
Hang on a second, Doc. We got to take another short break here. John in Fort Worth, if you have a follow-up question, you can remain as well. Folks, you need to get this information. Reach out to us, 800-450-7876 to speak to Dr. Alim. We'll take your calls after the short break right here on 1450 WOL, where information is power.
Testing 1 2 1 2 1 2. Hope everybody can hear me. I'm bringing you this afternoon. SPWD Speed, bringing it to you all the way live. This is what I came on YouTube to do, to share information, bring information, talk about health, nutrition, and everything like that. So I hope you're enjoying this. This is my brother called Carl Nelson. You can do the Carl Nelson the show from WOL 1450. That'll be out Washington, D.C., if you didn't know. But this is SPWD Speed, bringing it to you all the way live. Simulcast of my brother's show, the Carl Nelson Show, out of Washington, D.C. Hope everybody is having a good day, safe day, and I hope you please take this information as I've been telling you from the first of the year. These people are not playing. I told you what would be going down in 2025. It started, people. Now, you can keep on bickering and hollering and fighting among each other all you want to, but there's a bigger problem inside of this rabbit hole. I might do a follow-up on this show later on tonight, and I hope everybody might be available, and then I could tell you some things that I do. Why I haven't caught a cold in almost 40 years. Why I keep my youth at 60 years old. 60 years old, 6'1", 195 with a six-pack. And I ain't talking about no Budweiser. So to then, y'all sit back and listen to it for the rest of the show. It's probably going to be for the next 35 minutes, and it will be for the next 35 minutes. So please stay tuned. SPWD Speed, OG-60.
On top of Walmart's everyday low prices. What's in your wallet?
Terms and exclusions apply. Capital One USA NA.
Your state forester and the ad council.
Follow us on Instagram at WOLDC News.
And now back to the Carl Nelson Show. On Washington, D.C.'s 1450 WOL Radio.
Thanks for staying with us, folks. Our guest, the Nation of Islam's Minister of Health. His name is Dr. Abdul Ali Mohammed. You have a question about the coronavirus. This is the man you need to pose the question to. You got friends, because it's going to hit us. It's not a matter of when, if I should say, but when. And, they've been doing all these, putting these computerized figures into when it started in China, when it really blew out, exploded. And they figure for sometime next month it's going to be that way. You already got shortages, as we talked about, masks and toilet paper, and people are stocking up. If you think it's bad now, it's going to get worse. And I don't want to be an alarmist. I just want you folks to understand this. This is why we have Dr. Alim on the radio with us. So, Dr. Alim, I'll let you finish your response to John in Fort Worth.
Well, so what I was pointing out is that there has been, in effect, a long-term program of genocide. And the people who have perpetrated these plans are very serious about it, and they're well funded. And so now we are at the moment of truth where they are executing their plan on Earth, which is to cull the herd, to get rid of what they would consider to be the useless eaters, you see, because they already have all of the money. So look at the interesting connection between this epidemic and the economy that is causing a crash on Wall Street. And now they're telling you that don't trust the money. The money might have a virus on it. And so they're getting ready to confiscate all your money to protect you from a virus and take you into a cashless society, you see? And then they're going to declare medical martial law. They won't call it medical martial law. That's my term. They're going to say a medical quarantine. But it's the same thing. You'll be locked down somewhere and can't get out. And they won't let you out until they give you the vaccine that they say is necessary. And if you refuse the vaccine, then they're going to consider you to be a medical terrorist that needs to be put away somewhere for your own good and to protect the public. You see, so this is the long-term agenda. We've read these books. We've read these articles. We go online. We do this research. We see what Rockefeller says and Kissinger says and the Rothschilds say. They say all these things. They write it down. And then we look at it like when they don't mean it. Or they wouldn't do that. Oh, yes, they would, and they are doing it. So now the question is, what are we going to do in order to counter what they're doing? And we have common sense things that if we would just do it, we could counter what they're doing. But if we just play blind and dumb, like dumb little sheep being led to the slaughter, then we will be slaughtered.
Right. John, I thank you for your call. I got a bunch of folks in tweets for Dr. Alim, but I thank you, John, for reaching out to us from the Metroplex in Fort Worth, Texas. 800-450-7876. Gil's up next. He's on line 2, calling from Pittsburgh. Gil, you're on with Dr. Alim.
Hey, thanks for taking my call, Mr. Nelson. And to the good minister, I have just two questions, or two comments. One, most importantly, after you said your website, I typed it in twice. The link was dead. And then I went to your Facebook page and tried to link from your Facebook page. That was dead also. I'll just let you know because probably someone might be listening to what you're saying today. And it could be a problem on my end, but yeah, those links were dead.
Well, no, the website was working about 2 hours ago because I checked.
Yeah, I just typed in about 10, since I've been on hold. I called right after that, since I've been on the last 15 minutes. It could be my problem. I'll just let you know.
Okay, we will check into that, but it's myabundantlife.me, and then for the powder, you want addlife.me. And if there's
I went from your website, from your Facebook page even. I couldn't click over. It wouldn't click over. For your business page, your Facebook business page. But the second thing is...
Gil, what's your question?
I am the doctor. I'm not the techie, so...
No problem. I'm just letting you know because someone might be listening. But my second question, the rumor on the street in the African-American community is, although we know that they're not revealing the people that are affected by this, but they're saying the rumor on the street is that African Americans have a natural immunity to this. What do you say about that?
I would just say that's an urban myth. I wouldn't believe it. And again, this is typical. I mean, when I was a surgical resident at Harlem Hospital, the word on the street was that black people didn't get cancer. And then Dr. Harold Freeman actually did a scientific study and found that the black people get cancer more than anybody else in the country. You see, so again, we create these urban myths as a way of avoiding confronting the problems that we have, and we just pretend like we don't have to do anything. That kind of passivity is going to get us killed.
Well, that's why I went immediately to your website because I wanted to get those products that you suggested, and I could not find it.
Yes,
I'm not buying it for the best.
I think we're talking about warfare, right? If somebody develops a weapon to kill you, then I have something to save your life. Don't you think they're going to attack me and block me?
Exactly. That's why I'm alerting. I was just alerting. Good minister, thank you. Right. And Mr. Nelson, thank you.
Thanks, Gail. Doc, before I take another call for you, a question. It says the virus attacks the elderly, and why does it seem like the young are immune to it? Because both, wouldn't they have compromised immune systems?
Well, again, that's false information. When you actually look at the data, and the best data for that kind of a question you look at the people who are under quarantine, like on the ships, and what you find is the virus attack rate is equal for all ages. In fact, in the United States, we just reported the first death of a child yesterday. You see, so again, there's a lot of misinformation out there where people think they're safe just because of their age or their race or this or that. No, this is a universal threat to everybody. Nobody's safe.
Right, and I'm just got a note here. Somebody's handed me a note. It says Angela Merkel from Germany says that 60 to 7% of her population will be infected, and Spain has seen infections triple in 2 days. Italy records 168 fatalities in just 1 day, folks. That's what's coming our way. So again, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when. 800-450-7876. Go ahead, Doc.
Yeah, I mean, just to tie in with what you're saying, if you look at the global picture, the projection is that within 1 year, 40 to 70% of the world's population will be infected. So now you do the math. If 70% of people have the mild form of the virus, how many deaths is that? If they have the more lethal form, how many deaths is that? And don't forget, just because people recover doesn't mean that they aren't left with scarred lungs, scarred testicles, and damaged kidneys. They are. So it's not like they're out of the woods. They just didn't die from it. But they have medical issues that will linger on. The other important thing to think of is that Mr. Trump is misleading people when he says that this is going to die out when it warms up. No, it won't. This is going to become an endemic infection. It's going to be here this year, going to be here next year, going to be here 10 years from now. And we're going to have to develop strategies of how we're going to survive on this planet with this virus.
Wow, that's sobering right there. Since you mentioned Trump, I got a bunch of tweets for you as well. Dwayne says, based on everything that the minister just said, is it possible that 45 was ordered to do nothing about the virus?
I didn't get that.
He's saying, based on everything, is it possible that Trump was ordered to do nothing about the virus?
Well, I don't know what Trump is doing. If the core question is, what is Trump doing?
Yeah, he's doing nothing. The why he's sitting on his hands basically tells us that as soon as it warms up, as soon as we move through spring into summer, it'll go away.
Well, again, I don't know what he's doing. He has a task force.
Yeah, he's doing nothing. The why he's sitting on his hands basically tells us that as soon as it warms up, as soon as
they were calling the press conference. I don't know what they were going to announce. So again, I hope he's not doing nothing. I don't think he's literally doing nothing. He's not doing the right thing, that's for sure. And I'm telling him exactly what he needs to do if he wants to save the country. And also, if he wants to get reelected, he'll lift the sanctions on Cuba, and we'll go down there and get the interferon and give it to everybody who needs it and save their lives. It's just that simple.
800-450-7876. Go to Buffalo. Jim's waiting for us on line 3. Jim, you're on with Minister Alim. Is Jim there in Buffalo? Not hearing Jim. All right, let me take a tweet question for you. Can you ask Dr. Alim if green cake will help strengthen our immunity?
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't mention green cake. I did mention the green powder. The green cake is made with the powder. If you have the powder, you can make green cake with it. You just take the equal amount of honey and the equal amount of tahini. Tahini is sesame seed paste. Looks just like peanut butter, but you mix it with honey, equal amount, add the powder in it, and you knead it into a cake. The cake is not baked. It's all raw. And you can add cherries if you want, or sesame seeds, whatever you would like. So you can make the cake with the powder. Now she reminded me of something. I would recommend that no one eat nuts. No nuts at all. Nuts have substances in them that activate viruses. So the last thing you want to do under these conditions is eat almonds and walnuts and things that will activate viruses. You don't want to do that.
It goes for peanuts as well? You said no nuts, all nuts?
Yes. I would say of all the nuts, peanuts would probably be the worst offender. You're talking about aflatoxins that are found in nuts, and these activate viruses. It's not good.
Wow.
It's not good.
800-450-7876. Another tweet says, is Bill Gates profiting for this? You know, Bill Gates says he's going to roll out millions of dollars so people can get tested. How is your research? What do you think he's doing, his involvement in all this is?
I think Bill Gates needs to be brought before a criminal tribunal.
Tiwa, hold that thought right there. We've got to take another short break here. When we come back, I'll let you talk, express your thoughts about Bill Gates. 800-450-7876 to speak to Dr. Alim. Your calls are next on 1450 WOL, where information is power.
SPWD Speed, bringing it to you live. See, this is why when I got up to like 700-something subscribers, I killed the channel. Now, when we was on here fighting among each other, cussing each other out, probably would have maybe over 100 people up in here. Here it is, something to save your life, a discussion, and we don't see the importance in it. And people wonder why I take my videos down. This is why I take my videos down. Because I ain't got time to wait on your sorry ass. If you refuse to take it yourself, you don't have no problem at work tuning in to a bunch of garbage. But when it comes to something to save your life, then you just want to overlook that, so you would rather for this person be fighting against that person, that fighting spirit. We just love to soak inside of other people's misery. Misery love company, as old people say, and it still lasts to the day. And people ask me why. J-Speed, you getting out of black YouTube? Well, I'm getting out of black YouTube because I don't like this goddamn uniform that I was being given. And I don't like the goddamn team I'm playing with. Now, I don't have nothing against black people, but what I'm trying to say, African, I'm looking for African mind people, damn black people. Because it's this black mindset that we don't get that's keeping us stuck under this damn rock. Once you turn on that switch and have an African mindset, and that's the people I'm looking to roll with. I don't know no place on this earth is called black. No country, no continent. But we study calling ourselves black, the opposite of our white people who suppress us. So let's get back to the show.
800-450-7876. And we're just telling you, you got to take this thing real serious. It's going to hit us, folks. And we seem to be always on the late train as far as information is concerned. That's why we have Dr. Alim with us today. Any questions you have about this coronavirus? This is a man you need to pose a question to. Before we get back to him, though, let me tell you some of the other folks who are going to be stopping by in the next few days. Critical thinking professor, Dr. David Horn, is going to be here. We're going to talk politics with him. Metaphysician, Dr. B, is going to be here as well. And world traveler, Dr. Ranoka Rashidi. We're going to find out how the coronavirus is doing, because, Dr. Rashidi travels the globe, and we sort of travel with him vicariously, looking for people who look like me and you and find out what's going on with them. So I know we get some information about how the virus, has interacted with the virus in the different countries that he's been. But before we left for the break, we had a tweet from Marilyn wanting to know about Bill Gates. I want to get your thoughts on Bill Gates. Some people say he's profiteering. He's saying that he's going to spend millions of dollars to help fight this virus. So, Doc, I want to hear, and Marilyn, of course, wants to hear your response.
Yeah, he's worse than a profiteer. He's a war criminal. And as a matter of fact, people don't understand Bill Gates is wanted as a war criminal in many countries around the world. He was involved in some kind of a bogus vaccine scam in India and other countries that killed hundreds of thousands of people. He's a war criminal. I mentioned earlier about a company in the United Kingdom called Purebright that had the patent for this coronavirus. Well, guess who the number one investor for Purebright is? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. So Bill Gates got a whole lot of questions to answer. Why was he and Dr. Lieber in Johns Hopkins University able to do a computer simulation of a coronavirus infection back in October? What did they know back in October that we're just finding out about now? You see, he needs to be made to testify under oath. And a criminal investigation needs to be undertaken, because his father, of course, was a eugenicist. He was raised on eugenics, that the need to reduce the population of non-white people. You see, that's who Bill Gates is. You see, so let's not be naive about who we're dealing with. These are mass murderers and criminals.
Useless eaters. Too many people on the planet. You mentioned somebody in Buckingham Palace saying there were too many people on the planet, and I think it was one of those princes, Prince William. He said that this was after the birth of his third child. But of course,
Prince Philip.
Right, Prince Philip, the father, the grandfather, actually.
The Queen of England.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
That quote about useless eaters, that's actually David Rockefeller. That was his famous quote.
Yeah, it was, and it's contained in the
National Study Security Memorandum 200.
Right. Dick Gregory talks about that quite a bit as well. Right. January 2000. Yeah, Dick Gregory. Right. Doc, I got another tweet. Tweeter wants to know about oxysilver and colloidal silver. Can they help in warding off or building up your immune system?
Well, I would say there are a lot of people who swear by colloidal silver, and I think that it probably is useful in some cases. I have no experience with it clinically myself, so I really can't give you a personal opinion about it. But there are people who say that it is very helpful.
Yeah, and they're basically saying that if your body has to be a certain percentage of alkaline, or instead of acidity, that helps ward off the germs. Is there any truth to that then? Because this is
that is dangerously false. All of this business about an alkaline acid problem, no, that is dangerous information, dangerous misinformation that has harmed many people. And I am a strong proponent of a neutral pH water. You drink water as a natural pH of 7.4. That's what you drink. You don't drink alkaline stuff or acidic, So again, that's just false, misleading information. It's a fad. People make money selling these Kagan machines or whatever they call them. People make money. It has nothing to do with health. It has to do with money.
And the question I ask you again for the late folks who are just getting off work on the way home and tuning into us. When do you expect from with your research, when do you expect this really to explode where, like in New York, they've in New Rochelle, they've got the guards over there now. They're trying to keep people in New Rochelle in Westchester County from moving outside Westchester County. When do you think that's going to happen, like nationwide, where you won't be able to go where you want to go?
We're in the middle of it now. The explosion is taking place now. Look. If you were the Japanese in World War II and you saw the United States military detonating nuclear devices at Los Alamos in New Mexico back in 1943 and 1944, well, they saw what that led up to in 1945 when they dropped the bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. So when we saw SARS in 2003 and 4, and we saw MERS in 2011, those were just the test viruses. Now they got it perfected. Now it's been detonated globally. That's what we're dealing with. The explosion is now. You are in the middle of the explosion. The only thing you're waiting to see now is death.
Oh, wow. And again, could this be because of what China is flexing its muscles globally, financially? Could this be something to put them in check?
Absolutely. Well, not exactly. Not exactly. You have to understand certain things. On September the 31st, 2019, the United States defaulted on its sovereign debt. Now, if you look, you'll see that's when the earthquake hit in Puerto Rico. And that's where the corporate offices of the corporate United States is housed. So through an act of God, the United States was able to say the earthquake made it impossible for them to pay on their sovereign debt. So they were given an extension till January the 31st. They defaulted on the sovereign debt on January the 31st, and they were given a further extension till February the 16th. When they defaulted on the sovereign debt on February the 16th, that's when the coronavirus was detonated in China. And this was to say to China that we can't pay you. So what is going on behind the scenes, the trade war, the epidemic, is the global currency reset. The reason why the shelves are empty in Sam's Club and Costco and other places isn't necessarily just because of a virus. It is specifically because the Chinese no longer accept American dollars. The Saudis no longer accept American dollars for oil. The American people are the last ones to find out that their money is no good anymore. So in the middle of this epidemic of a virus, that is actually like the cover story for the global currency reset. In other words, the death of the dollar. So when the dust settles and the virus settles, you're going to have some new money in America. You're going to have a Harriet Tubman picture on a $20 bill. They say Obama's going to be on the $1 bill. Cesar Chavez is going to be on the $5 bill. You see, it's going to be new money. And it's going to be devalued. So they say, the experts say, it'll be about an 85% devaluation. So the currency war, the currency reset, and the epidemic and the trade war, all this is occurring at the same time. And that's what makes it so confusing, because there's layers and layers of reality here, and you have to sort through all of that. But in the middle of doing that, not only do you have to protect your wealth now because the dollar's dead, and you got to convert to gold and silver and other valuable assets that retain value, but you also have to protect your health at the same time. That's what makes it so difficult. So this is that great and dreadful day of the Lord that we were warned about.
Yeah. All right. We got some folks, a lot more folks want to talk to you. 800-450-7876. Gene's on line 2, calling from the district. Gene, you're on with Dr. Ali.
Thank you for taking my call. I have some workers coming in my home tomorrow to complete some work. Shall I ask them to put on masks and gloves while they're still working in here? They hadn't been here. They haven't been here in my house in 2 weeks.
Yes, the short answer is yes. You should be very careful about who comes in and out of your house.
I know. I'm concerned right now.
Come to visit here, they put on a mask and they wear gloves in my house. Okay.
Okay.
I would do the same.
I don't know if they have a mask, but they will have to leave and get it.
And people are used to certain things. You know, people are used to grocery shopping, going to supermarkets, going to gas stations, picking up the pump at the, pump the gas, and, you're going down the aisles in the supermarket. You need to rethink all of those things and see, is there a better way for you to do that? Could you actually get your groceries delivered instead of you going out exposing yourself in the aisles of a supermarket? You go down the aisle, you don't notice somebody just sneezed 2 minutes before you got there, and those droplets are still in the air. You don't know that.
No, you don't.
So these are needless risks. And so the things that you're saying, yes, take all precautions. Please do.
I certainly will. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Gene. 800-450-7876. Line 1, Dr. Douglas, also in the district. Dr. Douglas, you're on with Dr. Abdul Ali Mohammed.
Yeah, I would like to greet you, greeting of peace and blessing. And I am the doctor that was at that first HIV/AIDS conference held by Bishop Stallings in Washington, D.C. in the Catholic Church, at which you were present. And the point that was made there, I don't know if you remember it, but it had to do with our breath and oxygen, and the fact that all viruses are intracellular parasites. They have to penetrate two membranes, the cell membrane and the nuclear membrane, in order to rip off our DNA and RNA to produce themselves. And so I'm just wanting to know if you have any feelings concerning the actual respiratory tract and how we can protect ourselves by just being more mindfully aware of the significance of breathing and the type of breathing that we do.
Yes, well, I thank you for that question, and you bring to mind another aspect, a very strange aspect of this coronavirus and its connection to 5G. You see that there are some people in China and now here in the United States, perhaps, and on some of the cruise ships that die suddenly. These are people who are walking around even, and then they just suddenly start shaking, they collapse, and within minutes they're dead. What happens is the 5G decouples oxygen. The oxygen that we breathe into our lungs is in the form of O2. In other words, those are two oxygen atoms joined together. That's atmospheric oxygen that we breathe. We breathe it into our lungs. The hemoglobin in the red blood cells attracts the oxygen out of the lungs into the bloodstream. So that's how that works.
Right. Doc, we got to cut it. I hate to do this, but we just flat out of time. We got to cut the conversation. Dr. Douglas, I thank you for your call. Dr. Aline, we got to do this again because this is going to be with us for quite some time. I thank you for sharing all this information with us. And if you can tell us, we're out of time. Your website, real quick.
Okay, so the website is myabundantlife.me. The green powder is addlife.me.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Aline. Folks, are late, so we got to get out of here. Stay strong, stay positive. We'll see you tomorrow, 4 o'clock, right here on 1450 WOL, where information is power.
This is where we at, people. I hope you enjoyed that information for the last 40 minutes, and I'll be doing this on a daily, popping in, popping out, and trying to, do what I'm doing or try to help the community the way I want the community to be versus complaining about anything. So I might come on tonight and give you what I do. See, that's a doctor. He has to come on in. He is the Minister of Health of the Nation of Islam, and he has to stay in the guidelines of the doctors in certain areas. But me, I don't have to. I really don't. So I can tell you things you can do, but I can give you a pointer right now. So if you're looking for hand wipes and stuff and you don't have hand wipes, go buy you some Listerine. Go buy you some mouthwash. Anything that kill germs. And so use that. Get you some napkins or whatever, put it in a plastic bag, seal wrap, and get you some napkins, put it in there, and just pour it over there, and then you use it just for wipes. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things that you can do. Just think about it. If you can't get hold to no Listerine or anything, get you some like a tablespoon of Clorox. Put it in some water and put you some napkins in that. But you can only keep that for 24 hours, and just keep your hands wiped off with that. Peroxide. Come on, people. We know these things, or we used to know these things. What, we don't turn too white now, so we don't know these things. So there's a lot of things you can do. You ain't got to be worried about they out of hand wipes going crazy, ordering them over the internet and all that crazy ass shit. Use your head. So anyway, it's the SPWD Speed bringing it to you, OG-60. I'll be back late on tonight sometime. And thank you for coming in and listening. Pass this video on, please. Please tell the people who wasn't here, you passing the video on to. Please tell them not to subscribe. I don't want a bunch of knuckleheads subscribing to me. So, that's just the way I am. Everybody's different. I guess if I was looking for money, I want as many as knuckleheads at all to come over here and subscribe to me, but I'm not looking for that. I'm not looking for no money from nobody. I'm looking for people who ready to make a move, take off this old old ancient ass uniform we've been having on for 400 something years and put on a new uniform and let's keep moving. Y'all have a beautiful day and enjoy yourself. Stop worrying about the world the way it is and imagine it the way you want to and then move on it. Information, just like Miss Christine Williams said, information is only power when you put it to work. If you don't put it to work, you're just a damn book on a bookshelf. Peace and love. And always, always strive for the truth. Your brother from a different mother, J. Speed, OG-60.